I'm Deacon Patrick Jones. That's Deacon. It's a title, not a name. Patrick, Patrick. Jones, Jones. Mind Your Head Co-op is a ministry to people who have brain injury and to their caregivers. And it's primarily set up to help those who are in that time of having experienced a brain injury and not fitting into the acute care that hospitals offer, brain injury hospitals, but there's still a lot of room to go before life is as fully accessible and livable as possible. Brain injury is a challenge because, for many reasons, including it's invisible. Sitting here talking to you now, most people wouldn't guess that I have brain injury. Yet if some loud noise happened, I wouldn't have a clue what it was I was about to say. And if I was running through town and somebody honks their horn behind me, I literally am done. I can't. My wife had to come pick me up. One of the things that we're working with Mind Your Head to do is help people figure out for themselves what is it that they need in order to enter life as fully as possible. What strategies work? How do you work around the deficits? Because the more we enter life as fully as possible, the more our brain makes the connections it needs to make to both heal itself and to develop new pathways around the damaged areas and help us recover more capacity. So it's this back and forth effect of the more we live life, the more capacity we recover. The more we learn how to enter life more fully, the more capacity we recover. And so it's really a long-term cognitive brain therapy that's I've found amazingly effective for myself and those that I work with through Mind Your Head. We're starting a new program, actually expanding one that we've had for quite a while. We accept donations of used iPads and iPhones and now Android devices because for somebody with brain injury who doesn't have short-term memory, a portable external brain is like a wheelchair for somebody who was paraplegic. It allows us to function in a world where you have to have memory. You have to be able to think. You have to be able to process things. And with this little portable external brain, you've always got notes. They're searchable. It's easy to communicate even if you can't be with other people. You can video chat in with them. The technology is improving all the time. So the technology is very simple. It's intuitive. And the challenge is it's an everyday cost item. Insurance doesn't cover it. But it makes such a huge difference in terms of people's quality of life. So soldiers returning from Iraq who have brain injury from being near an IUD blast. People who've been in a car accident and have brain injury all benefit from having an external brain. We want to be able to provide that for them at a time when they're facing so many challenges and questions and financial challenges. Everything is stressed to its limit, and you're supposed to be able to buy something like this. That doesn't make any sense. This just is a simple way to open all kinds of doors to help people live life as fully as possible and experience all kinds of cognitive therapy through the gifts that this simple technology to access, but not at all simple under the hood, can provide. So Mind Your Head is collecting, accepting donations of used iPads and iPhones and Android devices to provide a wheelchair for the brain for soldiers and civilians. If you have any of these devices around that you're not sure what to do with, wipe them clean, ship them off to us. The details are on the website under the donate button. That's www.mindyourheadcoop.org. I received my brain injury as the result of over 8 concussions that first happened when I was 12. There's a cumulative effect to concussions. Doctors are now understanding this. And there's also a snowball effect. You have one, you're more likely to have two. And so by the time I had my 8th concussion, it was the end of 2002, and it was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. I have cognitive deficits and variable fatigue and constant neurological vertigo. So one of the ways that I've learned to compensate is by going barefoot. When we go barefoot, our feet adapt to what they're supposed to be doing. They adapt to having their freedom, being out of the prison of shoes. And the way our feet are supposed to function is they're supposed to provide our body with feedback as to where we are in space. So that woke up for me, and in a lot of ways it's like having a blind man using a stick to get around through a house with the lights off. For most people, going through a house quickly that they're unfamiliar with in the dark would be a big challenge. Not a big deal for the blind person. Well, I think that's a lot of the case for me when I run trails. It's a bit of the blind person going through the dark room. How do they do that? Well, the body is an amazing thing, and by accessing God's engineering and allowing my feet to tell me where I am in space, the vertigo is there, always constant, unchanging, but I'm able to cut through it because my brain doesn't have to figure out where I am. It just trusts that my feet know where they are and tell my body where I am. A lot of people want to know, well, vertigo, that sounds, kind of, I don't understand what it is. Imagine if you turned around 20 times one direction and then stopped and turned around 20 times the other direction with your eyes closed both times and then took off running. That's what it feels like all the time. But that's just one axis of motion. I have two all the time. So I feel like I'm in one of those Da Vinci mans. You just get strapped into the machine and it twirls any direction randomly. That's the seat in a roller coaster that goes any direction, any speed, any arc, and changes at any time. So it's quite a wild ride, but there's an amazing freedom when running trails because it's just flowing over the trail and trusting my feet and allowing my brain to not have to pay attention to where I am in space. So I run the trails here on the north slope of Pikes Peak as often as I'm able. If I'm able to get out, I do. Going out and just doing a short run barefoot, 0.2 of a mile. If I'm having a hard brain day and I'm able to get out at all, often helps me do better as the day progresses. I decided to find out how much I could do and to also raise money and awareness for brain injury and for Mind Your Head Co-op. I'm going to be, we'll see how far I get, but I'll be attempting to run the Colorado Trail from Denver to Durango. It's almost 500 miles. And I'll be doing the run solo. My family will serve as the sag wagon, carrying all the gear that I need for night, as well as food that I don't need when I'm on the trail. So the pictures that you see of me running here, that's me running with the pack that I will be running with. And there's 1.7 million people every year who receive brain injury in the United States. And on this journey, I'll be taking close to 1.7 million steps in order to complete it. And every one of those steps will be a prayer for people who have suffered from brain injury. That's part of my hope and prayer, is to make this a very contemplative running experience, and share that with others to hopefully help them understand that here's this crazy guy who can run these amazingly beautiful and challenging trails, even though he's got vertigo all the time. Imagine what you can do if you struggle and strive to figure out ways to access God's engineering. All kinds of things are possible. So that's the purpose of Mind Your Head Co-op, and look forward to working with people who have brain injury and just sharing the journey, so that we can together discover what is it that helps us enter life as fully as possible.